today I'm going to be reviewing the New King James Version Apply the Word Study Bible, and this is from Thomas Nelson. It is the large print edition, but it is available in a regular size font as well. Now this one came out a couple years ago. I believe it was 2017 if I'm remembering correctly, and I somehow missed this one as I've never seen it, heard about it, used it, and there's not a lot of reviews available on it either, I noticed online, so I was excited to get a copy of this to review. And I've been using it a lot lately because I'm still finishing up my read-through of the New King James Version. I just started Romans yesterday, so I'll be done here pretty soon. And I've been using this one the last couple days and really enjoying using it. So let me get this out of the box. I'm probably going to shake the camera a lot when I do that, so apologies there. Okay, so this is in a brown imitation leather, and then we have this black band across here with Apply the Word Study Bible. Same thing on the spine, and this is it is thick and a little bit heavy because it's a study Bible, obviously, but it's definitely not the biggest study Bible that I've had, especially for a large print. So we have one ribbon marker here, and then we have gold page gilding, perimeter stitching. You can see here we have a table of contents. We have abbreviations of the books of the Bible and a foreword. And then we're going to get into the Old Testament. So each book has a book introduction, and this one is of course Genesis. So it's saying Genesis sets the stage for everything that follows by taking us back to the beginning, the very beginning of everything. And then it continues on for this page here. And then it also talks about the land of Genesis and key events in Genesis. As you go through, you're going to have articles throughout mixed in with your scripture, just like you do in a lot of study Bibles. So this one has God the Creator talking about Genesis 1 to 31. And I'm turning to this page just so you can get a better look because there wasn't a whole lot of scripture on that page. So scripture is double column format, and you can see it's a very readable font. It's listed as a 10.5, and then the notes are listed as a 9.5. So definitely a very readable Bible, especially for a study Bible where you're often getting, notes that are in like a 7-point font just because there's a lot to cram into a study Bible. So a lot of times we have that smaller font. This one does not. This one's very readable. I love that there's a lot of color throughout without being too overwhelming. Here's a character profile. You're going to continue to have these other articles throughout. So there's a lot of information packed into here as well, despite the fact that it has that larger font and that it's not a terribly huge Bible either. So those are definitely some perks of this one. We have some charts as well. This is on major genealogies of the Bible. More character profiles here. Those appear to be in blue. So I'm liking using this for my read-through because it gives me some like articles and charts and maps and everything. Here we have a map to kind of break up my reading a little bit, but it's not like super distracting either. Like sometimes study Bibles just have so much that like you can't, it's hard to do a read through with them just because there's so many notes that you get bogged down in. But this one's not been too bad for that. And also you can obviously skip some of the articles as well and just do the ones that you're interested in. But I feel like it's a good balance of scripture and study Bible material. I've gone through the book of Acts in this one so far, and I've started the book of Romans. Like I said, I've been doing my read through all year, so I haven't used this one all year, obviously, because I just got it recently. But it's been a nice tool to add to my Bible tool belt as I'm going through the New King James Version this year. And it lays pretty flat. Pretty much, well, there's a lot in here, but pretty much from the get-go, because It's like I said, fairly heavy. It's not the heaviest study Bible I have, but it definitely, it lays pretty flat pretty quickly. So that's a plus. I don't know if that made sense, but I meant to say that the Bible lays flat when you're reading it and holding it. I'm not quite sure why I included all that extra information in that, but you get my point. So then we also have here's Psalms. You can see how the Psalms are laid out. If you hear singing in the background, my daughter's watching Bluey. I don't know if any of your children are fans of that show, which she enjoys it a lot. So some of that going on in the background. So I'm able to do my review today. Let's go ahead and skip into the New Testament here. Okay, so you will see this is a red letter text. It's a little more like a lighter brown, I would say. More of a red-brown than a bright red. But I'm okay with that. I think that's maybe even be slightly easier on the eye than a bright red. There's a chart on parables down here as well, giving you the name of the parable and the scripture reference. So the purpose of this Bible is application. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, like I have the Life Application Bible from Tyndale and the NLT. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that for the NKJV. Obviously they're not anything completely alike or anything like that, but it just kind of reminds me of the same purpose. It doesn't have all the traditional study notes at the bottom of the pages, like you see in a lot of your traditional study Bibles, but it just has a lot of these different articles which focuses on some of the history of the Bible and some of application of what you're reading. So that's been really helpful. And again, we have a lot of charts and maps throughout as well, and those character profiles. And book introductions too. I feel like I'm really close. Sorry. I feel like I'm really zoomed into this one, but that's probably good because maybe you can read it a little better, especially with the font being so large. You can probably read what's on the pages fairly well here today. So at the end of the Bible here, we are going to have a concordance, and the concordance is really readable too. I mean, it's not quite the 10.5 font that you saw in the with the scripture, but it's pretty close. And a lot of times you have those concordances that are teeny tiny and hard to read. Not this one. All right, let's skip through this here. Almost to the end here, I promise. My fingers choose to do their job properly here. There we go. Okay, so we're at the end here, and then you're going to have your maps. And then we're at the end of the Bible. So before I finish up my review here, let me just real quick pick like an article or some sort to maybe read to you so you kind of know what to expect a little bit here, because I know even though I had the Bible fairly close to the camera, you may be able to read some of it. It's nice to know kind of what to expect before you purchase a Bible. I know I've looked up a lot of reviews for that purpose when I'm looking at purchasing a Bible as well. So here's one, I'll just pick a shorter one here. This is in 1 Samuel, and it's 25 verses 32 to 35, and it's called Attention and Respect. And it says, Abigail rightly anticipated trouble because of her husband's foolish words, so she approached David as an intermediary. With a sizable peace offering in hand, she admitted that her husband was wrong and pointed out what David stood to gain or lose through his chosen course of action. The king could have ignored her counsel and his determination to pay Nabal back for his discourtesy. Or David could have disregarded Abigail because she was a woman. But he proved himself wise and honorable by hearing her out, evaluating her words, and heeding her advice. He took Abigail seriously and praised her for her good judgment and for preventing him from committing bloodshed. David gave Abigail the attention and respect she deserved, heeding her words and esteeming her wisdom. If we want others to pay attention to us, our words and actions must command respect. And as others approach us, we must listen to what they have to say and heed their wise counsel. So that's just an example of one of the articles you will see in there. And as you can tell, there's a lot of emphasis on application in this Bible, hence why it's called Apply the Word. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them below. Like I said, I've gone through the book of Acts and I've started Romans and I've just paged through a lot of it already. But if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer those, as I know there's not a whole lot of reviews on this Bible out there. So just one more time, this is the Apply the Word Study Bible. It is in the New King James Version. This is the large print edition, and it is from Thomas Nelson.